Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to another episode of the Gap and the Brown Show. This is a special episode that we have today. As you can realize here by my co-host Rob, he's not here right now, so I'm basically flying in this one a little bit solo. But I do have a special guest that I was mentioning in yesterday's show that I wanted to interview. Um, Her name is Millie B, and she also was at the Charlie Strong Charlie Strong press conference. So she's basically going to give me a little bit of, pretty much some of the insight of that. So let me just, without any further ado, let me go ahead and introduce my the interviewee. Hey Millie, how you doing?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's no problem, no problem. First of all, let's just tell them a little bit about yourself. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, of course, my name is Billy B. I am a sports anchor here at KXP, Channel 24 in Austin, Texas. I am also a columnist and reporter for Korean Daily Herald, Cowboys Post, as well as for Crate. But my main title is I'm a multimedia sports journalist for the Associated Press.
Okay, that's great, 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 great. And I also understand that. Well, I was going through the timeline, looking at your timeline on Monday, and I realized that you were at the Charlie Strong press conference. And since that was a huge hot button topic, I just felt like I had to get you on the show, and I had to get your thoughts, and I had to get just basically how was the mood there? Because we've heard some conflicting reports, boosters saying that some of them weren't too happy about the hire and all that, but just how was the mood there?
You could feel a difference in the mood with the press conference. It was kind of halted for just a minute before starting because the tension was basically like, hope or are we going to have failed disappointment? The University of Texas has wonderful coach of Matt Brown for decades and decades on end. And of course, during his reign and even at his height, he made some really awesome choices within recruiting, and of course made us lead to a lot of bowl championships. But as we've seen in the last 2 years, Brown has kind of had not so well of luck. So at this press conference, we're kind of like, who is this guy? One, you have a guy from Louisville of all places, so we know you, but we don't know you. And then two, you have some alumni, of course with myself, going, okay, this person never dealt with BT at all or at any kind of level, so it's kind of like we're having an unknown into the family. It's kind of like the new in-law or, someone getting married in the family that is from out of town or something like that. You know what I mean? The University of Texas is a huge franchise, and we're also a huge family, especially at the main campus in Austin. When we heard him through the press conference, there was a little bit of especially us who are beat writers for University of Texas in Austin, you kind of felt like, okay, when he made this comment about recruiting, he really basically said, look, we're not going to do things the old way. We're going to have to do some changes, and one of those is how we do recruitment. Which, of course, is true because for many years we've always had Texas, as well as the Southeast, be our recruiting base. I think we should expand to that because there's wealth and talent somewhere else we haven't looked that can provide somewhat of a conglomerate of a good team in many years to come. For many of those who still, after the press conference, feel like, I don't want Strong, I'm sure this is it, because the University of Texas in Austin, without Mac Brown, is kind of like the macaroni and cheese, but the cheese is tofu. It's just I'm trying to put a good analogy because Brown is a staple of the University of Texas. So
Right.
now him not there anymore, it's going to take some time, and it's going to take a lot of effort, especially on Strong and the rest of the coaching staff at the University of Texas, to give us some time and grace.
Right, and I mean, I really do understand that because it just seemed like that the past few years after making it to the national championship game against Alabama, it just seemed to dwindle ever since, ever so slightly. You had 2010, they went 5-7, didn't make it to a bowl game. You had 2011, they made it to the Holiday Bowl, and over the past couple of years, They made it to the Alamo Bowl, and basically many people just felt like it kind of had ran its course, and they just needed a new voice and everything. From what I also understand too, you were an alum of Texas. You are an alum of Texas, and also a former athlete of Texas. How did you feel about the hire?
Um, for me, like I said before, ran track in the University of Texas in Austin, and of course you're talking to a kid who somewhat grew up in Texas from
Yes.
Los Angeles and most of her career as a track and field athlete. So you really get a sense of without Mac Brown, it's going to be a little different. With Charlie Strong, he, how can I say it? I was a little bit confused because I said, of all places, it went out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also made me kind of look into Louisville just a little bit. The thing that I got about Strong is he's really good, coach and the coordinator where he was at. But really was just preaching to basically toughness, if I can say, for instance. When he was saying, your team is built on toughness at one point, and it starts in the weight room, he did, however, begin to say, kind of jokingly saying he pulled the cold weather that he brought with him would keep media away. A clear reference to his retention entitled aspects unrelated to football. So there, with me being a former student athlete and a former student at the University of Texas, we're always used to that. You know what I mean? We're always used to so much media that sometimes it gets to sometimes people way of us just being who we are. We're college kids. So for him to really focus his clearing on not doing a big charade, look, I'm here. He did it very professional and said, look, I'm doing this conference, letting you guys know, look, here I am. But his focus on the players who are deep down inside. We are college kids. We want to have that relationship with our coach. So for him to have that focus on his players really clearly shows me a wonderful thing that my favorite coach in the whole entire world, the ex-Florida State University, Barry Bowden, said, without the love from the coach to the players and the players to each other, you don't have a team. If you don't have that love and attention, to really grasp within your players, especially in a game like football, then you're just going to falter. So for me, it was a spell of comfortability, but still, again, as a former alumni, as an alumni of the University of Texas in Austin, I'm going to have my doubts until I see some chances of improvement.
Exactly, and I hope it all goes very well too. I do have Shiro Davis, who is a defensive lineman that plays there. I think he's a redshirt sophomore, getting ready to be a redshirt sophomore or junior. Yep.
No, I've heard of her cousin, yeah.
Oh yeah. And my grandma, before she passed away, she was a huge fan of Texas, and I still remember when I went to Austin for a convention, giving her a shirt. She was so happy about that. I just basically, I think me and Rob was talking about this a little bit in yesterday's show, and we were just saying, now what if he does falter? Like, 7-5. If he goes 7-5 for like 3 straight years at Louisville, it could fly. But if he goes 7-5, 8-4 in 3 straight years at Texas, people are not gonna really be as receptive of that as they are in Louisville, basically, right?
And you guys are in full agreement, and you guys being, University of Texas fans, just imagine the alumni, imagine the boosters. They need to have their doubts. Long-time visitor Atlanta come, he's not a fan of the decision to hire Coach Strong away from Louisville. He called it a kick in the face during an interview he ESPN 450 from San Antonio. I think it's this sideways. I don't believe he belongs. I would should be one of the 3 most powerful university programs in the world right now in the University of Texas at Austin. It doesn't add up. And that's true. You are coming into... Here's the thought I want people to have in their minds about people who have doubts, just like you guys who are fans, but also the people like myself, again, who can say, I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin. I was an athlete at the University of Texas at Austin.
Right.
it's a huge deal. And then going back to Los Angeles, and remember the 2007 when we had Young and people like that, when I graduated in '08, I remember I went back home to Los Angeles to spring break, and I seen somebody wearing University of Texas Longhorns t-shirt. I thought this was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think about it. The masses of University of Texas in Austin, and we get a guy from Louisville, it just seems a little crazy. And of course,
Right.
we're talking about the Combs, former owner of Spurs and Nuggets, the Vikings, Clear Channel Communication, and he basically said, I think it's a kick in the face. Because you have this guy that's like, okay, you weren't really a head coach at Louisville, but you're going to kind of coach here.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't add up. Yeah.
Basically, so, and you want to know what this really kind of reminds me of a little bit of maybe when Tyrone Willingham went to Notre Dame a little bit, because in my mind I feel like they both weren't really the first choice of their respective schools. But Ty did have a pretty good season at first, and then he just, came away, faltered a little bit after that third year, and we just all know what happened there, and basically there's that. Basically right now, let's basically shift our focus to the NFL, and from what I understand, you're at Seattle right now, right?
Yes, I will be heading to Seattle right now, and I will be dealing with the Seattle versus Saints game. And for me, being a long-time Tennessee Titan since the Oilers year fan,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be there to do my job and not cheer for anybody.
Hey, I know it's very tough because I've seen different games, and especially high school games, and especially college games, where I've had to cover the team that is facing against my alumnus. I actually just came from doing that last, I think Tuesday or something like that. It was a very exciting game in which my high school lost, and this team I covered won, and I was just so happy about it anyway. But do you have any picks for the four games, basically?
Okay, I have it. Let me pull it up really quick.
I'll go ahead and run them down for you. Basically, the game that you're at, right, that you're going to be at this Saturday. New Orleans playing against Seattle. Who do you think is going to win that game?
Okay, my thoughts on New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. My thing is, oh man, get back with me on that one.
Okay.
I have for the others, but that one is going to be a tie.
Okay. Indianapolis at New England, that game.
My thought is going to be this. We have two teams that won. Colts became very surprising. I have to admit it. I think all of us were pretty, very shocking of the Colts, especially after Manning leaving, and Manning doing so awesomely well. Who's also going to be in the playoffs. Well, Patriots, Tom Brady. You have someone that is somewhat been kind of inconsistent for the last couple of games. But my choice will actually be Colts, because in the end, I'm screaming with fear, but I want to see the Colts and the Broncos go to the Super Bowl, so that's why I picked the Colts.
Wow, that'd be interesting too. And since you basically already given your pick for the Broncos Chargers game, could you tell me a little bit about what your thoughts about that one?
You know what? Peyton Manning came into this season with a plan, and the plan has come from somewhere deep inside, maybe the Manning cave, and he exploded it out on this season. Broncos have done such well from the preseason. Remember the first game, the kickoff game? Well, the touchdown was out Peyton, and then he does it again, and he does it again. Then meanwhile, you have the awesome defense. They've always been unstoppable from the beginning. They've had a little bit of setback, especially when they go into their red zone. But I see that this game they're hungry, and they're all in support of their quarterback, who also has done them well. So that's why I picked the Broncos.
All right. It seems like we're in agreement with at least the Denver game, and I think we might be a little bit disagreement